Well, hey guys, Pete here, and you know I love to help you think about ways to practice. I think practice is so important. I love to practice, and so I'm always thinking of creative ways to do it, to both help my game, but also sometimes just to make sure that the discs I have in my bag are the ones that I can lean on, that I can count on. I know how they're gonna fly. So we're gonna talk about another quick and easy way to practice that also, hopefully, is a lot of fun. We're gonna talk about it right after the intro. Okay, so I'm set up here at hole number 15 at Inverness, and the short basket, the short tee to the yellow basket is only 154 feet, just straight out there. I can see it. Most of the time it's just my berg flicking it down there and settling it under the basket. But it's also a great hole. If you find one of these that you could potentially run at it, what you can do is take 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of your round if you're just playing by yourself or you just want to get some practice. What I would encourage you to do is just stop on that hole. Maybe play it the first time through regular and then come back and throw your entire bag on that hole. And the goal is not necessarily to throw aces, but to throw all your discs, including your high-speed drivers, and get them to be able to be manipulated so they get near the basket. And ideally, your aim is bullseye, but we'll go for circle one. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna help you start to understand your discs, but it's also gonna help you understand what the discs do when they're not thrown full power. Does that make sense? I've talked about this in other videos about how when we slow down our throw, whether we're decelerating or we're just not having to throw as much power, the disc is not gonna react the same. So what this is gonna do, because you're throwing your high-speed driver 150 feet, you're probably not throwing full power, so it's gonna fly differently. And this is a great way to learn the characteristics and the nuances of your disc when it's not thrown full power. I hope that makes sense. It should make more sense once we get up on the teepad. So let's go ahead and jump up there and let's throw our bag. It's just one quick time and then we can move on if we want to. Or we can come back and throw the opposite. If like we throw all backhands, let's throw all forehands. Or if we mix it up, whatever we throw, maybe come back and do it the opposite the next time. And 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, you've got a great practice in, and then you can keep on moving. So let's go jump on the teepad. Okay, so once again, I find myself here on Saturday. It's the first day I can get back out here this week to film. And it's windy as heck. It's not very bright outside, which is great for, oh, almost got me. Great for the camera, nice and saturated colors, not a lot of harsh shadows or anything like that. But it's also a Saturday, so it's busy out here. So I'm literally trying to film between people coming through, so we'll do the best we can. But let's jump on the tee as soon as these guys get through. Hopefully, the other guy just missed me again. So you gotta watch out when you're out here, especially if you're filming. All right, we'll be back. All right, so now I've got 20 discs. I counted them this time. I made that mistake too many times. So I've got 20 discs, so 20 chances to have fame and glory by getting near the basket, or 20 chances to have them roll away and never see the disc again. But we're gonna start with my normal shot and we're gonna work from there. So this shot, I normally do either just a new stable berg or a little bit flippy berg, straight berg. So I'm just gonna go with a nice forehand with the berg. And I'm also sitting here going, I have not thrown a disc in about a week. It's been a few days. But literally, first throw right out of the car. This is gonna be brilliant. Let's face it. One of the things they don't tell you about Vlogmas is you've got such limited time. And I gotta hold up, somebody's coming through. All right, well that was fun. Guy that's only been playing about 3 times came through and got to talk a little bit about throwing, and especially throwing forehands in the wind, because guess what happened to his disc? It picked up and flipped over on that forehand. He's like, well, why did that happen? Like, well, let's talk about wind and speed and all that. I didn't overwhelm him. I've been known to overwhelm people with just vomiting on him. So I actually reined it in pretty good, but he's about to finish down there and then we're gonna start throwing. Okay, well, I got this guy going here. I was, Pete, why do you emphasize practicing so much? Well, because maybe it's because I'm neurotic, but I really like having a full breadth of knowledge of what's going on in my game and how things are gonna work. And especially when things go wrong, I wanna noodle on it and go, why didn't that work? And usually it comes down to A, I'm a basket case, or B, my mechanics are off, or C, I've chosen my equipment poorly. Now, unfortunately, most of us tend to blame the equipment more than this or this. But I think if you get out and you work on your discs outside of playing, you take away one of those excuses because you know how your discs are going to be. Then you've eliminated one chaos factor. Then it's down to this and this. And you know, that's enough. So what we want to do is we don't want to have questions with our equipment the most we can, the best we can. That's terrible wording. So we don't want to question our equipment. We want to feel like we're rock solid. We're one with our equipment. That's why I love to hang on to discs that start to act, you know, I know how they're going to act. I want to hold on to those because it eliminates some of that extra just crazy energy, the thoughts in our head. We've got enough of those that if we can eliminate one, that's one less that weighs on us. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure yeah. All right, enough talk. Let's start throwing. Yep. It's funny, one of the things, if you haven't watched my video on decelerating and don't do it, I'm really trying to work on making sure I'm accelerating because especially as I get farther along, I'm gonna wanna try to touchy shots, and what happens is I'm gonna try to decelerate. So I'm trying to make sure I drive through. All right, that one's gonna be fine. It's a little flippy, but it's not as flippy as I gave it credit for. Now the range is a little more flippy, so same thing. Oh, I just pushed that out over there. That tree saved me. All right, so now I may do all these forehand, it'll be a good practice because believe me, I need it. So now I've got my glyph, which is a straight shooter. With a little flip up, because I'm throwing into a headwind, so I'm expecting a little more pickup. All right, now this is my flippy R2 spin, so I'm gonna need to put this on a little more hyzer. Oh, that was real close to being the right thing because it was flipping up the straight. I just need to bring it out here, but that's good for me to remember. All right, so now I've got a straight pig. I had this bag set up for Robbie if we were gonna do a disc swap, and I was gonna make sure to have this pig in there for him. Bag swap, not disc swap. Oh, bad tree, bad roll. I kind of like that shot. All right, so now Toro. So I'm gonna bring it over here and let it fight back. Little too much. It's funny with me thinking accelerate. I'm getting good crisp shots and I'm actually pushing a little farther than I expected. All right, uplink. Wind picked it up. That's gonna be too long. Little hex. You can tell that I just didn't give that quite enough little pop to it. All right, reactor. The other thing is I know the miss on this is to miss to the right and let the hill grab it. So I'm intentionally making the mistake of, if I'm not committing, I'm letting it fall off to the right. But those are falling too much to the right, which means I'm not driving through enough. So I got to put that in my head. It's this weird balance. I'm having to accelerate, but I don't want to push it through the basket. So I'm having to remember to bring it here. Show, don't tell. All right, so what I'm going to do with the deflector, I know distance-wise, if I come back here, that's too much. So I'm going to start right here and just try to drive through. Boy, that wind held it. It was the right amount of power, just got a little extra something. So for the crave, if I normally go here, I'm gonna go right here and drive through. I'm not mad with those throws, even though they're going a little bit long, because I'm working on two things here. I'm working on my bag, but I'm also working on clean release, thinking about my acceleration versus deceleration. Because here's the thing, in tennis, pickleball, I get in trouble all the time. I'm up at the net. I love to crash the net. Helps that I'm tall. But so I'll be up there and I want to volley, and what I'd want to do is I'd want to volley like this and wham, you know, do this and then stop. It's like I want to just bonk, bonk, bonk. But the problem is I'm accelerating and then trying to decelerate at the same time. Because I'm thinking that's where the power is, to be powering through it, but then stop it. Whereas what I should be doing is have it here and just drive through, drive through, drive through. I think that's what I need to be doing here as well. And so far, with I'm accelerating through, remembering to just set how kind of my power level. It's almost like if you played video games. Full power. No, I just need a little power. And so if I can keep that in mind, I'm liking how things are going. And a little roll. All right, so now my flippy Valkyrie. So I'm gonna need to release it like this. And so I wanna go just here. I don't need to go past that really. Because even when you do that, what happens, you naturally cock back a little more. So, oh, look at that wind, just pick it up. It's now shifted. I hope you could see, the wind is now shifted, so it's just pushing this way. It went from a straight headwind to a tailwind crossing over, left to right. All right, Thunderbird. That was much better. I kind of regulated everything how I like to. All right, Firebird. I'm getting good crisp release when I'm thinking about accelerate through. Let's try the Trail. I haven't thrown it on forehand a lot. But it's a 10 speed, so I got to just, not a lot of power. Well, yeah, hit the tree is always a good try. Pull you down just a little bit. There we go. All right, 11 speed, Wraith. Now the wind is coming back this way. Give me a good skip, good skip. I rolled right by the basket and stopped. All right, so now my Catalyst, which I thought was a Relativity, but this one's pretty flat. The wind's coming across here, so I'm gonna have to throw this right here. I didn't give it enough snap for it to stand up. I'd assumed, remember, I gotta remember that. I'm thinking it's flippy, but I'm not giving it a lot of power, so it's only got, if it normally flips to here, it really only flipping to here, and that's where my mistake. All right, finally, my overstable Boss. And I gotta remember, I'm not giving it that much power, so it's gonna be even more stable at the end. So I gotta go here. Y'all see they come sliding by the basket? And so now, what? That took, even with me talking, that took 5 minutes. Go grab them, come back, throw the backhands, good to go. Okay, after spending 10 minutes looking for a disc up in the leaves, I decided that hole's not the best one to show this, but also that hole is definitely more forehand friendly, and so I thought I'd bring you out here to hole number 6 to work on the same shot, but this is a natural hyzer shot. And the big thing here is, remember, because you're going to throw with less power, it's going to want to saw off and go early, so I've got to make sure I have clean release and expect it to dump a little bit harder at the end. Okay, now, we do have a V8 Corvette that's kind of revving in the background. Hopefully you can't hear it, but now that I've brought it to your attention, that's probably all you can hear. That's all I can hear. But let's have a little fun. Do this just to, keep things going. All right, so I'm gonna try to do this in the same order. So we're gonna start here, and I'm going for the blue basket. And the other thing I'm gonna try to do is not go OB. So I'm gonna try to throw it out here. I'm basically almost using that tree as my waypoint, my aim point, and then hopefully let it fall on in. Yep, I could have pushed that out a little bit further. Let me set you back just a little bit more. Now I'll go with the regular berg. This is my putter berg, so it wants to flip up just a little bit. I'm gonna let the Corvette move on out. Oh, that one's going in the road. Yep, just crept out. Okay, I've got to remember, power through, accelerate. Don't be touchy. Much better. Fade on back, right under the basket. So now here we have the opposite. These are both flippy. This one's pretty straight with a little flip, and this one's really flippy. So I've got to make sure I put this on more hyzer. And so let's sail on in there. Yep, right on the basket. Nice thing with the flippy, if I get it on the right angle, it's gonna go out, but it's gonna be pushing towards the basket as it falls back. Now this guy, I'm really gonna have to crank over. Huh. Yep, I think I'm okay, but it's gonna push long. A little bit past it. Do you see what's going on is, because I threw it out here, it took time to flip up, and as it's doing, it's pushing out before it got to the end of its height, its apex, and then started falling this way, so it went beyond the basket. That's a good thing to remember when you need to push a little longer before you drop at the basket to get around something. Use something a little less stable. All right, flat pig, I should just be able to throw it up here, and just as long as I put it on a good hyzer, drop right at the basket. Accelerate through. And I go into the road. Yep, just past the basket and just hopped into the road. All right, what happened there is I need to push it out a little bit farther. That was an aimer versus a thrower. All right, my Toro, overstable. I made sure to swing that out wide. I swung it out a little too wide. Okay, now the uplink. I'm starting to get where I have to modulate my distance because I don't want to go too far, but I got to remember to keep accelerating through. See, those got a little more glide. I pushed it out here, but I needed to keep it over here so it would fight a little bit more. All right, the hex is a little stable. It's a brand new hex, so I'm just going to throw it right out here. So then cruise on around. Sit. It's about 10 to 12 feet. I'm gonna let the minivan go by. So remember, because I'm not giving it full beans, it doesn't ever have a chance to really flip up. It's gonna fly almost on the line that I've got, except for the really flippy will fight a little bit. All right, the reactor's got a little more fight to it than the hex. Got it up in the air, missed the tree. Yep, right at the basket. All right, now the pyro, I called it deflector earlier. Pyro, same thing, I'm gonna swing it out a little wider and let it dump a little harder. I lied, I'm gonna take it up higher and let it crash harder so I could run at the basket without going out. That's where, if you're trying to get by a target, you can either run at it shallow and have a skip towards the basket, or you can go higher and let it spike down and catch and not go too far past the basket. For this, I wanna go higher. Oh, I still pulled it out into the road maybe. Oh, it hit on the edge of the road and it may have hit the other disc and I think rolled back in. That's where I just needed to push it out a little bit more to the right. All right, Crave is pretty neutral, a little flippy. Maybe a little too much. Let's see. Nope. All right, a resistor should just be a meat hook. I'm gonna send it up here and just let it crash. Accelerate, Pete. Almost, I'm giving it little looks. That's the other fun part of this, is never hurts to hit the basket. All right, my flippy Valkyrie, so I gotta really crank it over a little bit. It's fighting. That's gonna be a little short, but right at the basket. Thunderbird, I'm just gonna send it out and let it drop. That should be good. Yep. Fireball. Nice. All right, the trail. Huh. Push that one behind the tree, but it still made it. Halo Wraith. Huh. I gave that plenty of swing. Still gonna be okay. Now the catalyst. And see, I'm throwing these about 30–40%, so they're gonna act more stable. Now this guy is super stable. So I can just rip it high and let it crack. Oh, that was chasing the basket, caught the last tree. But there you go, guys. And you could add into it, bring a couple extra putters, and just putt from every one of those. If you're not gonna play, this could be, you spend an hour doing this. Go putt from all those shots. It'll work on your drives. your lower speed shots, and it will also work on your putting, then come back and switch arms. Yeah, great way to practice. It's fun, gives you a little challenge, and you may ring up a couple baskets, which is always fun too. So there you go. That's another way to encourage you. Get out here, have fun, but practice. Your game will raise up as you spend more time investing in it. So there you go. Thank you so much for staying with me. I appreciate you watching. Appreciate you liking and subscribing. I'm marching my way, trying to get some good numbers for when I go to the Northeast Expo. Now I think it's the East Expo up in Boston at the end of next month. So I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you out on the course.